Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters. We welcome you to tonight's program. But before we do, we wanted to do a dua that inshallah may your fast, your prayers, and nights of Qad be accepted. Inshallah, you took the opportunity to make use of the nights of Qad and prayed for things that is needed by you and other people within your community. And we hope that it could be attained, and inshallah that you have a good spiritual year to come. Tonight's program is dedicated to the people of Palestine. As majority of you know, it is going to be the last Friday of the month of Ramadan. Of course, it's bittersweet because the month is coming towards the end. But it's good in the sense that we can take this opportunity to also shed some light and put some attention for those who are oppressed by oppressors. So in this case, being the Palestinians. So inshallah, this program will be dedicated to them in commemoration of the International Day of Quds. The program will consist of Quran recitation, followed by a speech by Dr. Muhammad Riyad and Haj Hani, and then it will be concluded with Dua Iftitah. So, inshallah, have Brother Zuhair come up and recite Quran with a loud salawat. Allahumma.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده ليلا من المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى الذي باركنا حوله لنريه من آياتنا إنه هو السميع البصير وآتينا موسى الكتاب وجعلناه هدى لبني إسرائيل ألا تتخذوا من دوني وكيلا ذرية من حملنا مع نوح إنه كان عبدا شكورا وقضينا إلى بني إسرائيل في الكتاب لا تفسدن في الأرض مرتين ولا تعلن علوا كبيرا فإذا جاء وعد أولاهما بعثنا عليكم عبادا لنا أولي بأس شديد فجاسوا خلال الديار وكان وعدا مفعولا ثم رددنا لكم الكرة عليهم وأمددناكم بأموال وبنين وجعلناكم أكثر نفيرا إن أحسنتم لأنفسكم وإن أسأتم فلها فإذا جاء وعد الآخرة ليسوءوا وجوهكم وليدخلوا المسجد كما دخله أول مرة وليتبروا ما علوا تتبيرا عسى ربكم أن يرحمكم وإن عدتم عدنا وجعلنا جهنم للكافرين حصيرا صدق الله العلي العظيم. In the name of Allah, the All-Beneficent, the All-Merciful. Immaculate is he who carried his servant on a journey by night from the sacred mosque to the farthest mosque, whose environs we have blessed, that we might show him some of our signs. Indeed, he is the all-hearing, the all-seeing. We gave Moses the book and made it a guide for the children of Israel. Do not take any trustee besides me, descendants of those whom we carried with Noah. Indeed, he was a grateful servant. We revealed to the children of Israel in the book, twice you will cause corruption on the earth, and you will perpetrate great tyranny. So on the first occasion of the true prophecies came, we aroused against you our servants possessing great might, and they ransacked your habitations, and the promise was bound to be fulfilled. Then we gave you back the turn to prevail over them, and we aided you with children and wealth and made you greater in number. If you do good, you will do good to your own souls, and if you do evil, it will be evil for them. So when the occasion of the other prophecy comes, they will make your faces wretched and enter the temple just as they entered it the first time, and utterly destroy whatever they come upon. Maybe your Lord will have mercy on you, but if you revert, we too will revert, and we have made hell a prison for the faithless. Sadaqallahu al-Aliyyul Azim.
So thank you so much, Brother Zohair, for the recitation. And I should just say it, Zohair, because it's not just a brother. But Alhamdulillah. Now we'll have Muhammad Riyad giving us a speech on the occasion. So we'll turn our attention to him.
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Ramadan Mubarak to all of you. We wish, inshallah, that Allah accepts your prayers and fasting and reward you for your good deeds. In these days, in these blessed days, we ask Allah to provide our brothers and sisters in Palestine and in Jerusalem with his mercy, and to provide them with patience, and to grant them victory against their enemy and the enemy of the humanity. Brothers and sisters, I would like to thank our brothers and sisters at Al-Mahdi Center for organizing this and for keeping this event alive. It's really important that we keep the issue alive and not forget it. The Day of Jerusalem is an event that was started about a decade ago. So many years, Muslims around the world go out and take onto the streets to celebrate this day, to hold Palestinian flags, to chant for Palestine and for Jerusalem, to let the world hear our demands, to let them see and feel our aspiration about our land that was occupied and taken from us unjustly by a brutal enemy who violated all international laws, all human rights laws, and who have ethnically cleansed our ancestors from the land and kicked them out, removed them, eradicated them from their lands and from their homes, and pushed them out of the borders. This issue, those people still live in refugee camps around Palestine. We have millions of Palestinians who hold refugee status and live in refugee camps around the world, not being able to return to their homeland. This case has to stay alive. Their voice must be heard, and the world must hear their voices and their complaints and their true claims. And that's why this day is really important to keep this issue alive. As I said, our enemy is bidding on the fact or on the assumption that we will forget. We will forget the issue generation after generation, and then the issue will be forgotten. That's what the Prime Minister, the first Prime Minister of Israel, said when she was asked to analyze the situation. She was asked, how do you see this is going in the next generation or two or so? She said, the elders will die and the youngers will forget. That's what they're bidding on. So let's keep this issue alive by keep this commemoration alive. And that's really important. And that's why I would really thank our brothers and sisters at Al-Mahdi Center for keeping this day and for celebrating this day and for doing this commemoration for the Day of Jerusalem every year in the last Friday of Ramadan. So thank you all so much. The other thing that I would like to talk about is that we have been talking about this for so long. We have been talking about our problem with the Israelis for so long. We have been complaining to each other for so long. But this has turned, unfortunately, this has turned to become a local issue or a local topic that's being discussed amongst us. We need others to hear our voice. We already know the issue. We already know the problem, and we already believe in the fairness and just of our cause. But we want others to know about this. We want others to learn about our case. So it would be very beneficial if each one of us try to spread out the message, try to get more people involved, people who are not Arabs and not Muslims and not pro-Palestinians even. Try to go out to the public and speak about this issue. Try to get more people involved. Try to get more people believe in it, because that's how the struggle will continue, and we will win at the end, inshallah. We're gonna win. We're going to win if we keep it. If we keep the struggle alive. And it's not enough that we sit at our homes and we talk to each other about it. Every day, brothers and sisters, every day I receive tens of messages on WhatsApp, on Facebook, on messengers about what's happening in Palestine and what's happening in Jerusalem. But who are the senders? Palestinians or Arabs or Muslims? And who are the recipients? Us. We are talking to each other, and that's good, but that's not enough. We also need to talk to others. We need to voice out our concerns to the public. Let's go to the media. Let's talk to the media. Let's get involved in different dialogue groups. If you are at the university, talk to your friends, join clubs, get involved in student activities, and talk about this issue. Tell them, hey, we have this fair issue. This is unjust. This is unfair. What's happening to our brothers and sisters in Palestine is unfair. And believe me, 70 or 80, you will be surprised that 70, 80, 90% of them, maybe they might have never heard about this, or they might not, I don't think that they know enough about it. So let's educate them. Let's educate the public. Out of each 10 people that I spoke to about the issue, I was able at least to convince 6 or 7 of them. They need education. They don't know enough about our issue. So let's take on this challenge. Let's take on this challenge to educate others about our issue. So get involved, voice out your concerns, speak to others, get others to be involved in this, educate them. Don't rely on just talking, to each other. Don't turn this into a local topic. It's never intended to be a local topic, and it's never going to be one if we need or if we want to win this case. The other thing is, it's very beneficial, brothers and sisters, that you get involved and organize the platforms. It's good that you sit on your Facebook and you write, "May Allah grant victory to the Palestinians." It's good that you sit on your Facebook and you write, "Palestine is for Palestinians." It's good that you sit and you write in your Facebook or on you know, whatever social media platform that you use, and talk about Palestine to your friends and to your relatives. But that's not enough. That's not enough. Go out if you want to work for this issue. Join organized platforms. Join civil rights organizations. Join Palestinian organizations. Join even national organizations who defend justice around the world. And bring your issue to the table. Let's talk about it. Get involved in the media. Send articles, send emails to some mainstream media outlets. Ask them for more fair coverage to the issue. Tell them that your coverage is biased. Your coverage is unfair. We want you to be more balanced about this. If each one of us does that on a daily basis, if this becomes our routine to get involved, to speak up about our issue, and to reach out to others, to outsiders, and educate them about it, then we will accomplish much more. We will accomplish much more than what we are accomplishing right now by just talking about it among ourselves. As I said, talking about this amongst ourselves is good and beneficial, but you know, reaching out to others is more beneficial and more effective. So look out for other organized platforms, look out for organizations, look out for organized groups, look out for civil rights organizations, look out for national humanitarian organizations. Join them and bring this issue to the table and make it the subject of the day. The other thing is, be straightforward, to the point when talking to others about this issue. Spot the issue. You need to learn how to spot the issue. Our issue in Palestine, it's not just, you know, a violation of a human right. Indeed, Israel is violating the human rights for the Palestinians, but that's not it. Our issue is in Palestine is not only that we need, you know, more adequate access to some water and electricity. That's true, but that's not it. It's true that in Palestine, our brothers and sisters, they are deprived from their freedom of speech and from their freedom of assembly and from their freedom of movement. That's all true, but that's not it. Focus on the core issue, the occupation. The occupation is the core issue. Palestine belongs to the Palestinians. 2/3 of the Palestinians were kicked out from their land, and they live in refugee camps around their lands, and they want to return to their lands. We want the land to be returned to its true owner, to its indigenous people. And we want those people, those who stole the land, to be held accountable for their act. That's the issue. Be precise and straightforward, and don't be afraid to spot the issue. You know, some of us try to look maybe nice, try to look maybe more acceptable to others by leaning to minimize the effect of the occupation. Oh, our problem is just that we need, you know, Israel to respect the human rights of the Palestinian. We need Israel to give them more water and electricity. We need Israel to allow them more access to their holy sites so they can pray. As I said, that's all true, but that's not it. Israel is an occupying force. Israel is never a legitimate entity. Israel has occupied Palestine, removed its indigenous people from the land, settled strangers there who do not own title to the land in their place. The indigenous people who were removed from the land of Palestine now live in refugee camps around Palestine, or most of them. We want them to be returned to their land, and we want those who stole the land unjustly and without any justification to be held accountable for their act. Don't be afraid to spot the issue. This is the issue. Now, this can be accomplished. This can be accomplished by our collective efforts. The collective efforts of the Palestinians who remain in Palestine. Those Palestinians are doing their part. They're demonstrating every day. They're giving their lives and the lives of their children for the cause. They're losing their jobs. They're limited in their freedom. They're limited in their movement. They live under a big siege. They live in a big prison. We can't ask them for more than that. They're already doing enough. But us, what we have to do to support them? We live outside. We can move freely. We can speak freely. Nobody is limiting our movement or our speech. We have the right of assembly. We can form organizations. We can form groups. We can talk about it. We can argue for the Palestinian cause. We can attempt to create an unbiased and a balanced public opinion to serve our cause. What's holding us from doing all this? As I said, our brothers and sisters in Palestine, they're already doing enough. Now it's our part. It's our part to do something for them. Supporting them financially is something good. Speaking for their cause is something good. Voicing out their concerns to the world is something that is really good. And there are many things that you can do to keep this issue alive. So always remember, get involved, take actions. Let's not, don't limit yourself to your own people and your own groups. We already know about Palestine. No one of us is arguing against the cause. No one of us, you're not going to find any one of us who does not believe in the just and fairness of our cause. All of us, we all believe in the cause, but we want others to believe in it. So get involved, spread the word out. Palestine will never be forgotten as long as we continue to represent the cause before the world. But if we neglect our duties, and if we sit back, then yes, the case might be forgotten before the world. So action, turn your words into action. Words are good, but they're not enough. Turn your words into action. And if you need help or you need resources, the internet is available. Everything is public information these days. Search out for Palestinian organizations. Search out for humanitarian organizations. Search out on how to send a letter to the media, or how to send a request to your senator, or how to send a demand to your congressman. It's all public information. There is no excuse. There is no excuse that, oh, I didn't know. Oh, I don't know how to do that. No. Just going to Google in 5 minutes, spend 5 minutes in Google, and you will learn how to send a letter to your congressman or congresswoman. Spend 5 minutes in Google, and you will learn how to send a letter to CNN or Fox News or any media outlet. Spend 5 minutes in Google, and you will learn how to contact a local humanitarian organizations and ask to volunteer for them. Spend 5 minutes in doing a research in Google, and you will learn about the active Palestinian organizations or active organizations that they work for Palestine in your area. There is no excuse nowadays. The information is public and the information is available to everybody. So get involved, do something for Palestine. It's really good that we have this day once a year to talk about Palestine, but this should be our everyday action, everyday struggle, everyday work. And then, hopefully we can meet in this important day, the Day of Jerusalem, to talk about our accomplishments. Hopefully we can meet every year to talk about what each of us has accomplished. Oh, I've contacted, like 20 media outlets. I have been working with my Congress representatives and senators, and I have been calling them every day about this. I have been contacting the media. I have volunteered in 3 or 4 local organizations, and I have participated in a few projects for Palestine. That's like a year-long work, a worth of year-long work. Then you come on this day and you tell us what you have accomplished. Some people Some people take this for entertainment. This is not for entertainment. This is not subject that you can, it's something to forward on WhatsApp or Facebook. It's somebody, it's something that you need to keep you busy, in the day of Ramadan while you're fasting. And you want to kill some hours. Oh, let's forward some videos. Let's forward some pictures about what's happening in Palestine to our friends and relatives. Well, your friends and relatives already know about the cause. They already know what's going on. Did you forward that to the media? Did you forward that to your politicians? Did you forward that to influential people in your area or influential organizations? Did you volunteer in any Palestinian group or any group that worked for Palestine? How many projects that have you done in 1 year? Each one of us, if you believe in this cause, and if you believe in the just and fairness of this cause, should have something on their resume. You should add something in your resume about Palestine. I volunteered in an organization. I have been sending letters to my Congress representatives. I have been I have been working with this group or that group. Add something in your resume about Palestine, and then come on the day of Jerusalem to tell us about your accomplishment. Long live Palestine. Palestine will be free from the river to the sea. That's our belief. And we will continue to fight for that. And we will continue our struggle for that. We will not give up and we will not compromise. We will not accept halfway solutions. The land of Palestine should return to its own Palestinian people, to the indigenous Palestinian people, the true owners of Palestine. Thank you very much for having me. God bless all of you.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد خاتم النبيين وأشرف الخلق أجمعين، وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين وصحبه المنتجبين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I want to thank Dr. Muhammad Riyad for his speech. I want to thank the Palestinian Al-Jaliya Al-Falastiniya fi Arizona for joining us in this. I want to tell them and tell our brothers and sisters that the case of Palestine is still the most important common case that brings the Muslim world and the people who love freedom of the world. Palestine is the most common thing that brings them together. The capitalist world, specifically led by Britain, have plotted to take away the land of Palestine from its native citizens, from their place of their fathers and grandfathers, and they uproot them through terrorist activities and move them to different places. This kind of logic that the West did, especially the Europeans, where they claim that they oppressed during the Second World War, they oppressed the Jews. So they wanted to revenge for the Jews by coming and uprooting total innocent people in West Asia, which is Palestine, committing very bad terrorist activities against the native people and uproot them from there. This is the logic that the West used. And unfortunately, it was a deal at that time, between capitalism and even communist, which is led by the Soviet Union. Both of them agreed with the financing and support of the Zionist movement. They paid the money and the weapons to move it to Palestine. Through 70 years, right now, the Palestinians have been suffering and trying to keep their their rights and holding for their freedom and fighting for their freedom. The Zionists, they turned and they usurped Palestine, and they turned the land of Palestine to become a terrorist base for Israel. Israel is not a state. Israel is a terrorist camp that terrorizes the people of Palestine. And not only the people of Palestine are terrorized by Israel, but the people of the countries around Palestine are being terrorized, whether it is in Lebanon, Syria, whether in Egypt, you know, even it reaches even Iran and Iraq and Syria. They are being terrorized by this terrorist base that is called the entity of Israel. Now, that to struggle against this terrorist entity, which is named Israel, is a struggle against dhulm, against oppression, and it's struggle against terrorism. And this is a responsibility not only on the Palestinian people, it's a responsibility of every human being who believes in humanity, who believes in freedom, and who believes in justice. So that responsibility, of course, it lies first on the shoulders of the Palestinians, because they are the people who are being directly affected by this, but also it lies on us, every human being who believes in justice and in freedom. You know, the Zionist entity, although they were established in 1948, but the prerequisite to that establishment started way. If you study the history of the Western, whether it's in North Africa, in the Middle East, and the Muslim world in general, what happened in the Muslim world becomes weak and divided and away from sciences. And what happened is the West utilizes this and made division and imposed leadership, which is oppressives and puppets of the West. So that made the preparation and paved the land for the Zionist entity to be established in Palestine. But today, if we look at the Muslim world today, it's totally different issue. After the Islamic Revolution of Iran in 1979, the Muslim world is becoming back to depend on itself, to be more independent. And we should put this fact in front of our eyes. The balance of power right now in the world is changing. The Muslim world is going up in power, is becoming more independent, more self-dependent on themselves, more manufacturing things in their own, depending on their own self, instead of depending on Europe and America. And if we look at the political situations that's happening in Europe and in the United States, which are the major supporters of this terrorist entity, the so-called Israel, we find that there is shaken in their societies, whether it is the infrastructure, whether it is the administrative, whether morally, all of these it's happening. So if we look at one issue, for example, the corona that happened in the last year, they failed, whether it's in Europe or in America, they totally failed. They could not, and it shows their weakness in many aspects that in the West, they have political chaos, they have social chaos, and specifically in Europe now, and the West, we see their power is going down, whether it's economical power, whether it's a military power, and the administrative power inside the unity is going down. Look at Britain, the one who established the entity in Israel. They are even being divided. They may lose Scotland to take independence soon. In the other hand, if we look at the resistance, the axis of resistance that's facing this occupation of Palestine in different sensitive area of the Muslim world, we see it. They are becoming stronger in defense and offense in both, and they're becoming much more self-aware, and their hopes, specifically the hopes of the Muslim world and the Muslim countries, are becoming more and more towards supporting and unifying the support for the Palestinians, and that is based on the more education in the Islamic knowledge, and going towards the Quran and following what the Quran tells us, and depending also in the development of sciences, and also the independent spirit that's happening in these areas, and depend on themselves. All of these are blessed news and makes us to go to the better. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. But this blessed future that's coming to the area, that should have a complete coordination between the people and the governments. They have to all put a goal to put a goal to liberate Palestine from the Zionist entity. And the access of all of that to unite all of these countries and the people, there's one issue that unites them all, and that is Qadiyat Palestine, the case of Palestine. Not only Jerusalem or Al-Quds, but not only the West Bank, it is Palestine from the river to the sea, all of Palestine. And that's the fact that guided the heart of Imam Khomeini rahmatullah alayh after the Islamic Revolution to declare the last Friday of the month of Ramadan to be the Yawm al-Quds al-Alami, the International Day of Al-Quds. Subhanallah, he has a vision. And this Yawm al-Quds this year is becoming at the time of a semi-uprising in Al-Quds, under all of this oppression that's happening in Bab al-Amud, in Sheikh Jarrah, in different areas, in Nablus, in Khalil. You know, this is coming on the right time, and the world should. This Yawm al-Quds is making the world to open their eyes and see and keep the issue of Palestine alive. What brings a nightmare to the Israeli entity and to the Zionists and those who back them up, whether some Arab regimes who are running to normalize with the Israelis because of their weakness, or the facts that there was a Safaqat al-Qarn, which is the deal of the century that Trump and his son-in-law wants to do. It failed, and it failed because of the Palestinian people united against it. The Palestinians, number one, there's two factors are very important to draw the picture for the future of the case for Palestine. Number one, to continue the resistance inside Palestine and to strengthen that path of resistance against the occupation with the struggle, and even if sacrifice and life, you have to face that enemy that occupied your land. And the second one is the Palestinians inside. They need, and those who are fighting for their liberty and to liberate their country, they need the support of the people and the government of the Muslim world outside. And that is what comes on our responsibility. And the Palestinians that are outside of Palestine, you need to support and unite yourself to support those who are fighting to liberate Palestine. Regardless of what your religion, what is your political look, Al-Quds unite us all. Palestine unites us all. We should work on that, focus on that, put the campus on Al-Quds and Palestine, and put the campus to liberate Palestine from the river to the sea, and not only say, oh, let's negotiate and let's give Israel. That is out of the line. You give it a little bit, they're gonna come and take the rest. Look what they do it. They made in Oslo, they say, well, in 5 years, we'll give you a country. It has been more than 23 years and they still haven't done anything. And they're taking the rest of Palestine. So enough with this negotiation. You, like Jamal Abdel Nasser said, what is taken by force must be returned by force. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. And I have to say this. If you want to look at the facts, who is power going up and whose power is going down? Israel in 1967, they invaded and took over 3 countries in Egypt, part of Syria, and part of Jordan, and even some parts of Lebanon. and all of the armies could not do anything against them. And then they said the Israeli army is undefeatable, you know, and the Palestinian people, they were at that time defending themselves with the stones. In the first Intifada in the 80s, they were defending themselves with stones. But today, look at the Palestinians in Gaza. They returned with rockets. They manufacturing rockets inside Gaza now. So the balance of power is changing. Though the Israelis are still, because of the support of the West and the United States, they still much military are powerful, but they are going down. You know, not only Palestine and Israel is mentioned in the Quran as Al-Ard al-Muqaddasa, the Holy Land. And this, we must take that in consideration. You know, there are, inshallah, the Palestinians, with their continuation of struggle, and they have kept, you have to give it to the Palestinian people, with the oppression they went through, what they are doing in Jerusalem now, they want to make it a Jewish city. The way they are choking the Palestinians, whether it is economically, whether destroying their homes, uprooting them, and nobody is supporting them. Believe me, they are with bare hands. They are standing against armies, against the settlers. The settlers these are terrorist people, and the Palestinians are facing them. But you know, that's what kept that struggle, that's martyrdom by the Palestinians, kept the issue of Palestine alive. And inshallah, Palestine will go back to them one day. And Allah is mighty and promises that in the Quran. But the Muslim world and the freedom, the people who loves freedom, it is their duty to support the Palestinians. But the Palestinians themselves have to work on uniting their effort to fight the enemy. They should not be apart. There are 14 million Palestinians inside the West Bank, inside the 1948 territory, which is, they call it Israel now, but it's Palestinian occupied Palestine, and with Gaza, and in the camps in Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, and in Egypt and different places of the world. There are 14 million Palestinians. They all should focus and put their campus on Palestine and on Jerusalem together, and not to come to their enemies, which is the United States is supporting and the safety of Israel and supporting Israel with a blank check. They come to them and said, oh, you are the Godfather, come and help us solve the problem. Don't depend on somebody who's your enemy to support you. You need to do it yourself. You know, the hope in victory today is much better because of the change, like I said, of the balance of power. The power of the enemy of the Zionist entity is going down day after day, year after year. And now it is like I said earlier, they used to call themselves the army that undefeatable. And today it's an army that will never taste victory. Look at it. From 2000 till now, the Israelis have been not able to taste victory. They tried it in Lebanon 2006. They tried it in Gaza 2008, 2012, 2014. They are unable. In the other hand, the Palestinians and the other resistances and the excess of resistance with the support of the Islamic Republic of Iran has become stronger and stronger. And if you look at the fact, and this is a very important, that now the Zionist Jews are not going to Israel. They are leaving Israel in a very large number because they are losing faith, and they know the fact that Israel will collapse, totally collapse, because its military now cannot have any victory. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Having said that, I'd like to end with the following. The Palestinian strugglers, they must continue from inside their struggle against the entity of Israel and this immoral, illegitimate country, the Zionist state of Israel, till this Zionist state finally gives up and gives back the people their rights. And I say to them, with the name of God, move and continue, and know Allah says in the Quran, وَلَيَنْصُرَنَّ اللَّهُ مَنْ يَنْصُرُهُ. Allah will give victory to whoever give victory to Allah. So be with God and have faith, and you will get your country with the support of the Palestinian hands and the resistances and those who are outside of Palestine. And it's our duty to support them whatever we can, whether in talk, in pen, in, like Brother Muhammad was saying, reaching everybody else, even helping them in any way you can with your capacity. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله ولكم. وإن شاء الله victory, and next year inshallah will be in Palestine, in Quds, which is liberated from the Israelis and led by the Palestinians. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Muhammad Riyad and Hachani, for providing us some insight tonight, and also rekindling things within us to remember of our obligation and responsibility in respect to this matter. Sometimes living in the West, or just being simply bombarded by all these different media outlets and horrific events around the world, we become a little bit numb to these atrocities. But it's important for us to do some kind of action, be it if we can physically, be it financially, or even the least vocally. So if we don't, then it's a shame on us, and we're actually doing injustice. Yes, injustice occurring to these people, be it in this case the Palestinians, but the biggest injustice will be being done to ourselves because we did not assist those who are being oppressed. So inshallah, may this be a reminder, especially for myself, as well as you, that we have to do something. Otherwise, our inaction will go down in history, and we will not be on the right side of things. So with that, hopefully we can change our attitude and our situation in respect to it and be a little bit more active. Like Brother Muhammad Riyad had recommended different avenues that we can take to be a little bit more proactive about this. Everyone's of different capacity. Of course, you can do what you can, like Hachani just mentioned, but doing something is better than doing nothing. And especially when we reflect on what the Palestinians are doing, when we look at what we are not doing, I speak of myself, it's very shameful. Sometimes people give the example of, like, if you imagine you had a house and then someone comes and takes over that house and puts you in the bathroom and then cuts off the water source. That's exactly what's kind of happening. And then now you have to debate on, can you have a portion of the house back, even though that house belonged to you from the beginning? So if we want to think about these things, then we should try to see if we can do something about it. I don't want to take more of your time. Inshallah, the last portion of the program will consist of recitation of Dua Iftitah. So we'll inshallah get ready for that, and we'll have Sayyid Zohair to recite it for us. With Allah salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
He's saying change the camera.
Oh, like, okay.
It's okay. No need. We don't need it. I can just turn off the video. It's okay, we can just turn off the video. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أفتتح الثناء بحمدك وأنت مسدد للصواب بمنك وأيقنت أنك أنت أرحم الراحمين في موضع العفو والرحمة وأشد المعاقبين في موضع النكال والنقمة وعظم المتجبرين في موضع الكبرياء والعظمة اللهم عدنت لي في دعائك ومسألتك فاسمع يا سميع مدحتي وعجب يا رحيم دعوتي وأقل يا غفور عثرتي فكم يا إلهي من كربة قد فرجتها وحموم قد كشفتها وعثرة قد أقلتها ورحمة قد نشرتها وحلقة بلاء قد فككتها الحمد لله الذي لم يتخذ صاحبة ولا ولدا ولم يكن له شريك في الملك ولم يكن له ولي من الذل وكبره تكبيرا الحمد لله بجميع محامده كلها على جميع نعمه كلها الحمد لله الذي لا مضاد له في ملكه ولا منازع له في أمره الحمد لله الذي لا شريك له في خلقه ولا شبيه له في عظمته الحمد لله الفاشي في الخلق أمره وحمده الظاهر بالكرم مجده الباسط بالجود يدا الذي لا تنقص خزائنه ولا تزيده كثرة العطاء إلا جودا وكرما إنه هو العزيز الوهاب اللهم إني أسألك قليلا من كثير ما حاجة بي إليه عظيمة وغناك عنه قديم وهو عندي كثير وهو عليك سهل يسير اللهم إن عفوك عن ذنبي وتجاوزك عن خطيئتي وصفحك عن ظلمي وسترك على قبيه عملي وحلمك عن كثير جرمي عندما كان من خطئي وعمدي يطمعني في أن أسألك ما لا استوجبه من الذي رزقتني من رحمتك ورعيتني من قدرتك وعرفتني من إجابتك فصرت أدعوك آمنا وأسألك مستعنسا لا خائفا ولا وجلا مذلا عليك فيما قصدت فيه إليك فإن أبت عني يتبت بجهلي عليك ولعل الذي يبت عني هو خير لعلمك بعاقبة الأمور فلم أرى مولا كريما أصبر على عبد اللعيم منك علي يا رب إنك تدعوني فأوليك وتتحبب إلي فتبغض إليك وتتودد إلي فلا أقبل منك عن لي يتطول عليك فلم يمنعك ذلك من الرحمة لي والإحسان إلي وتفضلي علي بجودك وكرمك فارحم عبدك الجاهل وجد عليه بفضل إحسانك إنك جواد كريم الحمد لله مالك الملك مجري الفلك مسخر الرياح فالق الأسباح ديان الدين رب العالمين. الحمد لله على حلمه بعد علمه، والحمد لله على عفوه بعد قدرته، والحمد لله على طول عناته في غضبه وهو قادر على ما يريد. الحمد لله خالق الخلق باسط الرزق فالق الإصباح ذي الجلال والإكرام والفضل والإنعام، الذي بعد فلا يرى وقرب فشهد النجوى تبارك وتعالى. الحمد لله الذي ليس له منازع يعادل ولا شبيه يشاكل ولا ظهير يعادد، قهر بعزته العزة وتواضع لعظمته العظمى وبلغ بقدرته ما يشاء. الحمد لله الذي يجيبني حين أنادي ويستر علي كل عورة وأنا آصي ويعظم النعمة علي فلا أجازي. فكم من موهبة حنية قد عطاني وعظيمة مخوفة قد كفاني وبحجة مونقة قد أراني، فأثني عليه حامدا واذكره مسبحا. الحمد لله الذي لا يهتك حجاب ولا يغلق باب ولا يرد السائل ولا يخيب عامل. الحمد لله الذي يؤمن الخائفين وينجي الصالحين ويرفع المستضعفين ويدع المستكبرين ويحلق ملوكا ويستخلفه آخرين. والحمد لله قاسم الجبارين مبير الظالمين مدرك الحاربين نكال الظالمين صريخ المستصرخين موضع حاجات الطالبين معتمد المؤمنين. الحمد لله الذي من خشيته ترعد السماء وسكانها وترجف الأرض وأمارها وتموج البحار ومن يسبح في غمراتها. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. الحمد لله الذي يخلق ولم يخلق ويرزق ولا يرزق ويطعم ولا يطعم ويميت الأحياء ويحيي الموتى وهو حي لا يموت بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير. اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك وعمينك وصفيك وحبيبك وخيرتك من خلقك وحافظ سرك ومبلغ رسالاتك، أفضل وأحسن وأجمل وأكمل وأزكى وأنمى وأطيب وأطهر وأسنى وأكثر ما صليت وباركت وترحمت وتحننت وسلمت على أحد من عبادك وأنبيائك ورسلك وصفوتك وأهل الكرامة عليك من خلقك. اللهم وصل على علي أمير المؤمنين ووصي رسول رب العالمين عبدك ووليك وأخي رسولك وحجتك على خلقك وآيتك الكبرى والنبأ العظيم. وصل على صديقة الطاهرة فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين، وصل على سبتي الرحمة وإمامي الهدى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة، وصل على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف الحادي المهدي، حججك على عبادك وأمنائك في بلادك صلاة كثيرة دائمة. اللهم وصل على ولي أمرك القائم المعمل والعدل المنتظر وحفه بملائكتك المقربين وأيده بروح القدس يا رب العالمين. اللهم اجعله داعيا إلى كتابك والقائما بدينك، استخلفه في الأرض كما استخلفت الذين من قبله، مكن له دينه الذي ارتديته له، أبدله من بعد خوفه أمنا، يعبدك لا يشرك بك شيئا. اللهم أعزه وعزز به وانصره وانتصر به وانصره نصرا عزيزا، وافتح له فتحا يسيرا، واجعل له من لدنك سلطانا نصيرا. اللهم اظهر به دينك وسنة نبيك حتى لا يستخفي بشيء من الحق مخافة أحد من الخلق. اللهم إنا نرغب إليك في دولة كريمة تعز بها الإسلام وأحلى، وتذل بها النفاق وأحلى، وتجعلنا فيها من الدعاة إلى طاعتك والقادة إلى سبيلك، وترزقنا بها كرامة الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم ما عرفتنا من الحق فحملنا، وما قصرنا عنه فبلغنا. اللهم المم به شعثنا، واشعب به صدعنا، وارتق به فتقنا، وكثر به قلتنا، وعزز به ذلتنا، واغن به عائلنا، واقض به عن مغرمنا، واجبر به فقرنا، وسد به خلتنا، ويسر به عسرنا، وبيد به وجوهنا، وفك به عسرنا، وانجح به طلبتنا، وانجز به مواعيدنا، واستجب به دعوتنا، وعاتنا به سعلنا، وبلغنا به من الدنيا والآخرة آمالنا، وعاتنا به فوق رغبتنا يا خير المسؤولين، وأوسع المعطين. اشف به صدورنا، واذهب به غيظ قلوبنا، واحدنا به لما اختلف فيه من الحق بإذنك، إنك تهدي من تشاء إلى صراط مستقيم. وانصرنا به على عدوك وعدونا إله الحق آمين. اللهم إنا نشكو إليك فقد نبينا صلواتك عليه وآله، وغيبة ولينا، وكثرة عدونا، وقلة عددنا، وشدة الفتن بنا، وتداخر الزمان علينا. فصل على محمد وآله، وإن على ذلك بفتح منك تعجله، وبضر تكشفه، ونصر تعزه، وسلطان حق تظهره، ورحمة منك تجللناها، وعافية منك تلبسناها برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم صل على محمد.